Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Richard Moglen and welcome back to my channel. And today I'll be doing a trade review for you guys. And this is on a loss, a bad trade, because I think it's really important to show both sides of trading, both your gains and your losers. And hopefully you guys can learn from my mistakes and this trade. So this is of LNTH last week on Monday. And I'll be walking through kind of the overall setup, what I was looking for, my execution, and of course the mistakes I made along the way. And also kind of how I journaled the overall trade and kind of took that data. So hopefully in the future, just like you can learn from this, I can learn from it as well and just make less mistakes in the future, because that's the name of the game. This is a long-term process. You're just trying to get a little bit better with every single bad trade. And I definitely made some mistakes with this one. So let's go ahead on over to TC2000 and take a look at the overall chart. So first things first, let's talk about the overall setup and why it was on my watch list in the first place. So LNTH had a huge gap up on volume, a nice trend, and it's right at all-time high. So it was a leading stock here. And this type of power on huge volume is something I always look for as a precursor. And then I'm looking for consolidation. I'm looking for a pullback buy within the overall strong trend. So we got that here into the 21 EMA. And this is actually a little bit more severe than I usually like to see. I like to see a kind of gradual drift back into that moving average. Here we got it in pretty much one bar, but I like how it closed out the week with an inside day on that Friday right against that 21 EMA and going over to a 65-minute time frame. This is why it was really on my radar. We had very tight 65-minute candles. Basically, this range is only about 1. And from this type of setup, I can basically manage my risk very tightly, and I'm expecting for it to recover and make its way towards those all-time highs. So I'm looking for basically a move through this line on high volume on that Monday. So with that said, let's go on over to a 15-minute chart and talk about what actually happened on that day. And let's go ahead and move forward to that first 15-minute bar. So moving on over to a 15-minute chart, this is where I purchased the stock on that first 15-minute candle as it broke above this range at 49.96 was my cost. And my initial stop loss was at basically just under this low, I believe about 1.2% initial risk. So far, everything is good. There's a good setup, a lot of potential here, and there's a good execution on my part, basically buying it as it broke above that range, and my initial stop loss is all within my usual risk parameters. But moving forward, this is where things get a little bit more iffy. At this point, I had purchased a few other opportunities. 2 had been stopped out, SEDG as well as AOSL, both decent looking setups. GTLB I also bought at the same time, and that was working. But I was also stopped out in this time frame on GFS, which if you look at the chart, this time was really basically breaking expectations. So I was feeling overall portfolio pressure, and going back to kind of the data collection sheet here, which I highly recommend everybody check out. It's completely free. It'll be linked down below in the comments and also popping up right now. Because of that overall portfolio pressure, I was a little bit too focused on my P&L. I'd watched a very strong opening gain slowly tick away, and I felt myself not really following my process quite as much as I would like. And I basically made the mistake of moving up my stop too early before my rules tell me to do so. So going back to this chart here, this is where I basically moved up my stop to just basically break even. I think I put it just a few cents above, and then ultimately LNTH stopped me out right on this candle. And then basically into the end of the day, it took off without me and had a very strong close and just continued to work pretty much into the end of the week. So this is what it looked like into the end of the week on the daily chart. This is the day that I bought and got stopped out of. We've got that strong close, fall through the next day, went sideways, and then nice action on that Friday. And this is Monday's candle right here on lower volume. And from my initial buy point, we were up about 17% into the end of the week. And I do want to stress that I do think I did a lot of things right with this trade. My interpretation of the chart was strong. The setup was high potential, low risk. My initial execution of the buy initial stop loss was quite good. But it was at that point where I started to feel overall portfolio pressure that I let my kind of emotions take control. And that's what caused me to make a mistake and move my stop too early. And focus too much on my P&L over process. So overall, I hope you guys found this video helpful. Let me know if you'd like to see more ones just like this one in the future of both losses and wins. And for everybody watching, I would highly recommend going through this process on your own. I definitely learned a lot from analyzing this trade, and look at what you did well, look at what you did basically badly, look at your execution. Did you follow your process? And also go ahead and interpret basically how your emotions came into play as well, because I think this is a very overlooked part of trading. And once again, this day collection worksheet is 100% free. It'll be linked down below in the description as well as popping up right now. And it's a great way to organize your overall thoughts. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please go ahead and take the time right now to leave me a like down below and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I'll see you guys in future videos. Thanks.